Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Silver. I read the tarot cards, I'm an intuitive psychic, and I make true crime tarot videos. Occasionally make pick a card videos, but the true crime route just kind of seems to be where I am headed more often. For today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the case of OJ Simpson. This case was recommended by one of my lovely viewers. So thank you so much for the recommendation. I just have to say really quick, I've gotten like a quick little explosion of love and subscribers and interaction, likes, like all the things. And I am just so appreciative to say thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are all like super freaking smart too. Like you teach me so much, so thank you. Anyways, enough about that. Let's talk about the case today. This happened back in 1994. OJ Simpson had previously been known to abuse his wife. There had been a few different police phone calls. Some family members have also claimed that they had witnessed this themselves as well. But this case in particular talks about the taking of Nicole Simpson's life. That was his wife, I believe soon to be ex-wife. They were either like in the divorce process or they had just gotten divorced. And as we all know, that's like the most dangerous time for any person in a domestic violence situation. So the case, like it happened obviously quite a while ago, and the verdict came out to not guilty. There's some speculation it's because of the jury pool. OJ Simpson is a black man, and his first jury in the criminal case was mostly black men. We're going to be taking a look at that. We're going to be taking a look at, is he the actual person to have taken her life? There's speculation that the police department was corrupt. They planted the evidence, that they were racist. So we're just going to be taking a look at the legitimacy of the amount of foul play in the case itself that may or may not have been going on by the police department, as well as, is OJ Simpson even guilty? Is somebody else involved? Is his son involved? So we're going to be taking a look at all of that. And there's also a second victim as well. His name is Ronald Goldman. He is a friend of Nicole's, and they were together when the deaths occurred. I would just like to remind everybody that everything in this video is alleged and for entertainment purposes only. So let's go ahead and dive right into the case. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and jump right into the reading. So what I'm going to be looking at first is at the time of the murders, shortly before and during them. I want to take a look at what the energy was like between OJ Simpson and Nicole Simpson. So this first card I'm going to pull is going to be representative of OJ himself. Here we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. So this shows me confusion and a lack of clarity. I feel like he was not thinking very clear. I feel like he was thinking irrationally, and this led to doubt. This led to mistrust and an inability to see reality in the way that it actually was. To me, this is just feeling very confused and very delusional, for lack of a better word. So that's the overall energy for him, and that's so interesting that that's what's showing up for him, because in my opinion, most people who are abusers, who are evil and can do things like murder a partner or murder anyone for that sake, they're usually in some kind of altered state of mind. Not to say that they're not capable of taking accountability for their actions, but let's say we do discover that he really is the culprit. This would make sense, because like he would maybe feel justified in his confusion. If he sees reality in a different way than what it actually is, perhaps that could be why he could act out something so horrific. But that part is just speculation. What I am getting right now from the card is that he was just in a state of confusion, disconnect, and this caused him to respond or react in ways that didn't align with what was really going on in the reality around him. This next card is going to be representative of Nicole, and again, this is at the time of the murders taking place. Oh, here we have the 10 of Cups. Wow, it's the rainbow after the storm. So like this is heartbreaking, because to me this shows me that she was hoping for and seeing an actual glimpse of hope, of freedom. of happiness. She had put up with so much being with him that now that they had, again, I can't quite recall if they were just divorced or in the process of getting divorced. And yeah, like, well, that's such a scary time for anybody in a domestic violence situation. You also have to be, I would assume, filled with joy in some aspect because you are moving in a direction towards freedom. And this is how this is reading to me, is she was like happy, proud of herself, and ready to move on with her life. Now let's take a look at how that energy between them was moving. What did that energy look like? Okay, we got a few cards, so let's go with it. Ooh, this is interesting because this is like a card of dedication and forward movement and progress. While when the Chariot in reverse is delays, a lack of success, a lack of motivation and drive. So what this is telling me, oh my gosh, and look at how it showed up, right? With this one on his side, this one on her side. Wow. So he was, the energy between them, sorry, I keep starting sentences and not finishing them. The energy between them, I'm going to start over here because this is exactly how it's reading to me. He was dedicated to being consistent in a way where he was not going to give up on her. He wanted her. He wanted to be with her. That's what I'm trying to say. So he was dedicated on making that happen. He was dedicated at showing up, being like a physical presence in her life. The Pentacles often represents physicalities of life. With the Chariot card in reverse showing up for her side as the energy between them, this is telling me that she did not want to move forward with him, which this makes sense exactly with the story that we know as to why they were splitting up. She did not want to continue. She didn't feel that she was going to be successful. She probably feared for her life, if I had to guess, considering there were abusive moments. And not to mention as well, the lack of like drive and motivation to want to put in effort or to even put in towards yourself when you're in a relationship dynamic like this. So with this being the current energy, or not like the right now current energy, but the energy during the time of when the murders were potentially taking place, again, this shows her like being aware of the fact that he wasn't ready to move on. And she was like, I don't want to move forward with him at all. So this would make sense if he was being so persistent. She was so reluctant to do that because she's trying to move on and live her best life. But the fact that he was so dedicated to showing up and being consistent, that also could be a key indicator that he actually was the one to take her life. So now what I'm going to be taking a look at is OJ and his relation to the murders. So I'm going to do a similar setup. The first card is going to be representative of OJ Simpson again. And the next card is going to be one that represents the actual murder. So this one is OJ Simpson, the Six of Cups in reverse. This can often talk about your past and your past experiences, kind of allowing yourself to re-feel them, relive them in a way. So what this is telling me, with this card showing up for him, and also the cups have to relate with our emotional side of things. So not necessarily like how we process something or like logically understand something. Like this is all emotional. So I feel like he was very reflective of his time with her, very reflective of just his past in general. I feel like some of it has to do with their relationship, but we are just taking a look at only him right now with this card. So I feel like he was probably in a point where he was just really reflective of everything that he's done, all the things that he's been through, all the relationships that he's had, the relationship with Nicole that he had. And to me, this is like reminiscing about it in a way where it allows him to maybe validate some of his feelings, maybe validate some of his thoughts or reasons for being how he is. This just feels like such self-reflective energy, but in a way that validates him in the direction that he feels he is supposed to be going in, whatever that may be. So let's pull another card. This one's going to be representative of the murders themselves. Oh, Five of Cups in reverse. This is so interesting because the Five of Cups in reverse is like, yeah, this is a tragedy. There's failures to be acknowledged, but there's almost like a bright side to it, a potential positive to reflect on from this. And this is also emotionally based as well. I'm going to get back to this card because there's a couple things coming to my mind, but I want to make sure I'm interpreting this correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the card for the energy between them, and then I'm going to get back to this one. Let's see. And we have 2 cards again. Okay. So let's start over here with the 6 of Swords. So the swords, like I was saying earlier, these are more emotional based. The swords are more thought process based, more like how you logically understand something, how you perceive something, and then that directly goes into how you communicate it. Sorry if you see like colors on my hands. I have the ashes from the Palo Santo and like colors from I don't know what actually. Anyways, sorry. What was I saying? Communication, thought process, 6 of Swords. This is about moving on, moving in a new direction. The 9 of Cups, this is like a wish come true. This is like a success, like a, yes, the thing that I wanted to happen, happened. And this is so interesting to me because what I'm getting from this is like, he was reminiscing through, like I feel like I'm reading it in this direction. So I feel like he was so reminiscent on all the things he had been through. And again, like I said, it was in a way to almost validate what he was already feeling or thinking. Moving into the 6 of Swords, to me, this tells me is he's like, okay, I've kind of come to a place of like answers or like closure within myself to where I am now dedicated to moving on, moving in a new direction towards satisfaction. That's where this 9 of Cups card comes in. And with this card over here being like the card of regrets and failures and like, you know, this is just not generally not a positive card, but it being in the reverse, there being some type of like bright side to it. I genuinely do not feel that that's like some bright side for like the greater good or like towards anybody else. To me, this was reflective of how he was feeling. Something else I'd like to point out that really made this stand out to me as well is like, I always want to look at the positions of the cards. It really does speak something. So the fact that the empty cups are over here, the failure regrets are looking at these empty cups, and the potential positive, I just don't have a better way to say it right now, is over here towards OJ Simpson. Again, this just shows me like this is the direction he's moving in, and he saw a positive through the murders. So to me, this is connecting him to them. I do feel like he absolutely had something to do this. This to me feels like a conscious decision to do the thing. So now that we got that out of the way, I want to take a look at, there was a flee attempt after the murders. Like, what is that about? Okay, so again, like I've been doing, this first card, I'm going to pull this for OJ. Because like this would kind of make no sense if he didn't do them, right? So let's figure out what's going on. Okay, 8 of Cups, walking away from something, like on a more emotional sense of things. Again, walking away from something into something different, into something hopefully better, right? It's you're like on a seeking journey. So this just totally makes sense if he's trying to flee away. Perhaps he's also trying to flee in a more like, what's the word? Literal would be like him actually fleeing, right? But maybe like, oh, what is the word? Metaphorical? I'm gonna go with that. If that's the wrong word, please correct me. Sometimes I'm a little dumb with my words. But anyways, this could also be representative of him leaving his emotions, trying to ignore them, trying to not face the reality of what has just happened. So the next card I'm going to pull is representative of like the fleeing itself. Maybe we can get some more insight on like the why. Yeah, Queen of Swords. This is because there is not honest communication going on. There's some blurriness in the lines of how we are thinking, how we're communicating that, and how that's translating in our actions as well. And this is usually harsh, very critical. So again, I feel like he was trying to run away from criticism, from being held accountable, from the truth. Wow. Let's get one more card to tell me just a little bit more about this fleeing. And then we have the King of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, it came to a stop. This is the slowest moving suite. In the reverse, it's like you're stuck, you're stagnant. So yeah, this didn't get him anywhere. So this is just kind of showing me that final outcome of the fleeing. Also, I'd like to point out something else that's I'm hearing in my brain is a lack of security. So I feel at this point, this is when he felt like, oh, this is it. Like, I'm not totally safe, totally secure. This is potentially my time to be caught. That's what I'm picking up on. So that's kind of what I am picking up on that he was feeling. So the next thing that we're going to get into. Also, I have a question for you guys. Do you feel like I talk too fast? Do you feel like I talk too slow? I try not to think about it too much. I just kind of go with the flow, but I have been given both sides of feedback sometimes, that like sometimes I say too much information all at once and it's overwhelming, but I've also been told that like it's nice that I just get it all out there. So I don't know. What's your feedback on that? Anyways, what we're going to be taking a look at now is the police department, because I believe the deputy was racist, like saying racial slurs and other things like that. And there's speculation that they had actually been planting evidence and that type of thing to actually get OJ Simpson caught, because nobody actually, like, as a witness saw him there. However, there was some DNA found at the scene. There was a glove found and a matching glove found in his backyard. So it's like, were you there? Did the police really go through all this work to plant all that DNA evidence to try and prosecute you because you're Black? Or is it just more nuanced than all of that? So I'm going to pull a card for the police themselves and then OJ Simpson and look at the direct relationship between them. This first card is going to be for the police department, LAPD at that time. Okay, so here we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. What this tells me is that they are out of touch with emotional maturity. So that would kind of make sense with all the racist stuff going on and the potential like believability for police corruption if that's what was actually going on. And the reason I say that, again, cups are all about emotions. When the Ace of Cups is in reverse, this can sometimes represent a few things, right? It depends on the reading and what's going on. So this is why, like, so many cards can have different meanings, but it's all about, you know, your intuition coming into play and the other context clues. So what this card is telling me in particular is that there was a disconnect from themselves to like the actual, again, reality of what was taking place. Does this make sense? So when I say there's a disconnect there, this card can also represent not just emotions, but like intuition. So it just feels like similarly to that Ace of Swords in reverse, the Ace of Cups, this is just more so like emotionally reactive level, but it's just like not reality, not living in reality, not living in a balanced, mature, easily understandable way. It's like going out of the way to make more problems. And in return, that can socially make them look bad. Okay. This next card is going to be for OJ Simpson himself. Here we have the Seven of Wands. This is like, I'm going to have to fight for myself, really stand up for myself. So this is already showing me how the energies kind of played in between each other. It's like they're at this level over here, a little bit corrupt, not doing things within alignment. And he is over here like, I'm going to have to really fight for myself. Like, I'm the underdog in this situation. So I'm just going to say right now, I haven't even pulled an in-between card yet. But so far from the reading, I feel like it's just not black and white. Like, there's so much nuance to the situation. At this point in time, and we'll ask the dowsing rods later as well, I feel that he is guilty for taking Nicole's life. And that would also mean for Ronald Goldman's life. I'll ask some more questions about him with the dowsing rods. And then On top of that, I do think that there was some corruption in the police department. So could it be possibly true that both things are true? That they were racist and kind of had this other could it be that they were racist and had this other bigger plan or bigger idea to kind of like, well, it's a black man, he's in this situation, like, yeah, like, let's really get him? Could it be that a little bit mixed with the fact that he just actually did it? So let's go ahead and just pull the card for in between them. But I feel like this case is just so much more nuanced than it being either one. Four of Swords. So this is interesting because this card generally means like taking a break, relaxing, literally like putting your thoughts up on the wall. Like, I'll get to that later. So with this being the energy in between them, perhaps there was just a lot from the police department that was like ignored or not fully thought through, not fully addressed, that could have further led to any potential corruption going on. So to me, this just feels like they just didn't do their due diligence. They are racist or were or whatever. You catch my drift, okay? And yeah, they just were not taking accountability in the way that they needed to, or handling this case in the way that they needed to. And honestly, that's really unfortunate, because if everything that I'm getting in this reading is true, like, they probably could have really actually put up a solid case to where maybe he would have been found guilty. But perhaps because of all this outside drama, that's why he wasn't found guilty. It just made it easier for the already made potentially racially biased jury to really see, like, this police department is just making all of this up. So, okay. Is there any last thing that we need to know about this case? Any last thing that we need to know about this case? Okay, yes, so this was the inevitable like crashing of a circumstance. And what I mean by that is, like, the foundation between the two of them was never stable, right? So that makes sense. This is just reconfirming that a tower moment is like a chaotic, inevitable transition. So with a foundation already so unstable, with so many other things going on, add a little bit of lightning and fire, which could be that bitterness, that jealousy, that feeling like, but I need her in my life, right? How we got that card of consistency, of not stopping for OJ Simpson earlier. He was going to make sure that, you know, if he felt like his foundation was crumbling, that hers was going to crumble too. The Knight of Swords, this is swift action. So I feel like this was in the heat of the moment. It's like, while yes, it was planned, it was like, I'm just going to do it. I do think it was just like quick action, quick moving, I'm going to do it. And the King of Cups over here, I think he felt, especially because he got the not guilty verdict, I think he felt like a king. I mean, the King of Cups, and he's had a lot of Cups cards, which I'll talk about again, the emotional side of things. So I think he felt like emotionally satisfied. I think he felt on top of it like a king, and he was like, I am getting away with murder. Okay, so I feel like that's all I really want to ask the tarot cards. Next, we're going to get into the dowsing rods, so we can just get some more specifics on the case, some more details on Ronald Goldman, the second victim, and we're also going to see, like, if any other people were involved. So far from the reading, it doesn't appear that way, but it doesn't hurt to ask again. Let's get right into the dowsing rod questions. I'm just cleansing them and my space again. Let's get started. I'm going to try and hold these a different way. For some reason, people think I move my thumbs and that gives me the answers, but it's not how it works. So let's try holding it like this. Maybe it'll be better. So let's start with the first question I've written down. Did OJ Simpson take Nicole Simpson's life? We cross for yes, we move apart for no. Yes. Thank you. Did OJ Simpson take Ronald Goldman's life as well? Cross for yes, move apart for no. Thank you. Really quick, spirit guides, dowsing rods, do you like when I clarify? Please cross for yes, move apart for no. Did you see that orb? Oh my gosh. Do you like when I clarify to cross for yes or move apart for no? Yes. Okay. And I just saw an orb by the rods when I asked that. So thank you. Okay, I will just be sure to occasionally make sure I mention that. Okay, so was the death of Nicole Simpson pre-planned? Cross for yes, move apart for no. Yes. Was the murder of Ronald Goldman also pre-planned? Stay crossed for yes, move apart for no. Was Ronald Goldman's death pre-planned? Yes. I wasn't expecting that. Because he's just a friend of Nicole's, I thought maybe wrong place, wrong time. So let me just re-clarify this way. Let's move apart for no, and we'll cross for yes, like usual. Was Ronald Goldman just in the wrong place at the wrong time? Nope. It was intentional and it was planned. So now I want to know why. Did he speculate that they were like more than just friends? I just twitched. Okay, sorry. Did OJ Simpson speculate that Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman were more than just friends? Cross for yes, move apart for no. Got it. Thank you. Okay. And is that why he also pre-planned his murder? Yes. Thank you. Was anybody else involved in the taking of Nicole Simpson's life or Ronald Goldman's life? Anybody else besides OJ Simpson involved? Move apart for no, cross for yes. Got it. Thank you. So does this mean OJ Simpson's son, was he not involved in the murders? Let's cross if that's correct. Move apart for no. Was OJ Simpson's son not involved in the murders? Let's cross if that's correct. Was OJ Simpson's son involved in the murders? Cross for yes, move apart for no. So is it possible that the statement OJ Simpson's son being involved in the murders, but somehow nobody else besides OJ Simpson being involved in the murders, are those two things, can they be true at once? Kind of. There's more nuance to it. Okay. I got it now. I got it. So was OJ Simpson's son knowledgeable of what was happening? I feel like I've moved my hands too much. Let me reset. Sorry. Okay. Cross for yes, move apart for no. Was OJ Simpson's son aware or knowledgeable in some way of what actually happened? Yes. Is this what you mean by he was somehow involved in the crime? Yes. Did OJ Simpson's son have any physical part in the taking of their lives? No. Okay, so that's what that means. Was the LAPD at the time of this case racist? Oh, yes. Sorry, I laugh because that was like really strong. It actually did make my hand move. So if that looked weird, let's ask again. Was the LAPD at the time of this case racist? Cross for yes, move apart for no. Yes. Okay, thank you for that confirmation. I appreciate it. Did the LAPD frame OJ Simpson for the murder? No, they didn't. Was the DNA evidence mishandled though? Was there any mishandling of the evidence by the LAPD? Move apart for no, cross for yes. So they actually didn't misproperly handle the DNA. Was the glove planted by the LAPD? No. So when OJ Simpson tried the glove on in court and for some reason didn't fit, is it because he purposefully stopped taking some medication and that caused his hands to swell? Yes. Thank you for that confirmation. Okay, before I forget, did the fact that the first jury, I can't say that word, the first jury in the bigger criminal case, is the fact that they were mostly Black men, did that contribute to why he was found not guilty? Cross for yes, move apart for no. Yes. Okay. Is a part of why he was found liable for the deaths in the civil case because that jury was mostly white men? Actually, no. Okay, is the reason he was found liable in the civil case because there was just more leniency on the evidence they could put forth? And, well, let's just get with that. Is that a potential reason? Cross for yes, move apart for no. The more leniency on the evidence put forth. Cross for yes, move apart for no. Yes, okay, cool. Was it also potentially because he testified? Was him testifying in any way, did that make a difference in what the jury thought? No. If he were to have testified in the criminal case, would that have made a difference? Cross for yes, move apart for no. No. Okay, so there you have it. I feel like that was pretty to the point. We got some solid answers. Thank you so much, Dowsing Rods. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, for always leading me through these cases. And thank you again to all of you so much for the love and support. And I have a list right now that I'm going to be going through. So if you have recommended something to me, don't worry, I will be getting to it when I can. But that concludes today's video. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think. All opinions are welcome. I just ask that we're respectful. But yeah, with that being said, I would love to know what you all guys think about this, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.